since I've been on TV on Jerry Springer and things of that nature, they think it's a game. They think it's a joke. They think I ain't really got Memphis in me still, bro. For real, y'all gotta be crazy. Got to. But at the same time, you gonna play with me, but you ain't gonna play with Young Mob like they're the people who really got. Shout out to BEO Lil Kenny. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to BEO Lil Kenny. Why he ain't gonna say nothing to BEO Lil Kenny?
You are not going to believe what just happened. Big 30, who is literally only days removed from getting out on bond, is already sitting in front of a camera reacting to BEO Lil Kenny basically telling him to stay out of Memphis, the city he calls home. The same city that helped build his name is now at the center of a huge public dispute. And here's where things get even crazier. Reports say Big 30 is currently dealing with legal restrictions that limit his travel, meaning there are already obstacles keeping him from moving around freely. Then you add the public tension surrounding his name back in Memphis, and suddenly this situation looks a lot bigger than a simple disagreement between two artists. That's exactly where things stand right now. By the end of this story, you'll understand how this situation reached this point, why people keep talking about it, and why some fans believe the connections stretch much deeper into Memphis rap history than most realize. There are a lot of moving pieces here, a lot of familiar names crossing paths, and some details that have people paying very close attention. If you only catch part of the story, you're probably going to miss important context that helps explain why everyone is talking about it. But before we get into Big 30's reaction, we need to go back and look at the bigger picture. If you only saw a headline or a quick social media post, you're missing a huge part of what's going on. This isn't just one rapper throwing words at another rapper. There are personal relationships, industry connections, long-standing affiliations, and real-world consequences all mixed into the conversation. Memphis has always had a tight-knit rap scene, and when different circles clash, people pay attention fast. First, let's talk about Big 30. For anyone unfamiliar, Big 30, whose real name is Rodney Wright, emerged from Memphis and quickly became one of the city's most recognized rap voices. His rise is closely connected to Pooh Shiesty's movement, which immediately puts him in a notable part of the Memphis rap landscape. He's also built strong industry ties with artists like Moneybagg Yo and others connected to that broader circle. Those relationships helped solidify his place in the scene and gave him a platform that many artists spend years trying to build. Look at the names attached to his career. Collaborations with Moneybagg Yo, Pooh Shiesty, Yo Gotti, and other major artists aren't small achievements. Those are some of the biggest figures associated with modern Memphis rap. A resume like that doesn't happen by accident. It takes consistency, networking, talent, and the ability to earn respect from people who already have established positions in the industry. That's one reason why Big 30's name carries weight whenever conversations like this start making headlines. And that's important to remember. When people see Big 30 involved in a public dispute, they don't just see one artist. They also think about the circles he's connected to, the people he's worked with, and the relationships he's built over time. In the rap world, those connections often become part of the story, especially when tensions start attracting attention online. Now let's switch over to BEO Lil Kenny. Kenny has his own strong background and his own loyal audience. He's signed to Quality Control, one of the most recognizable labels in hip-hop. This is the same label associated with artists such as Migos, Lil Baby, and City Girls. Being attached to a label with that kind of history immediately puts a spotlight on everything you do. It means more attention, more expectations, and more eyes watching every move. The nickname BOO has also become a major part of Kenny's public image. It's something fans immediately recognize when discussing his music and reputation. Over time, it helped create a distinct identity that separated him from other artists trying to break through the Memphis scene. In today's music industry, branding matters, and Kenny built a name that people remember. His rise to recognition is also unusual compared to many other artists. While many rappers build their audience through performances, interviews, and constant public appearances, Kenny's story followed a different path. During a period of incarceration, he continued building attention around his music and expanding his audience. That alone made people curious about his story and helped create additional buzz around his name. Think about that for a second. Most artists rely heavily on being visible in public, constantly interacting with fans and promoting themselves face-to-face. Kenny managed to keep people talking about his music despite significant limitations. That kind of situation naturally attracts attention and adds another layer to his overall story. On top of that, Kenny has connections throughout the Memphis rap scene as well. He's worked alongside artists such as Key Glock and has relationships with other figures familiar to fans who follow the city's music culture closely. So he isn't some random outsider looking in from a distance. He's another artist with roots in the same environment, the same city, and many of the same overlapping circles, even if different loyalties and affiliations exist along the way. And that's where things start getting interesting. You have two artists from Memphis, both with established reputations, both connected to important names, and both carrying influence within different parts of the city's rap scene. They come from similar environments, yet they move through different lanes and different networks. In a city where relationships and affiliations often matter as much as music itself, those differences can become a major talking point. So now the question everyone keeps asking is simple. How did these two end up at the center of such a public conflict? And what pushed the situation to this point? That's where the story really starts getting interesting. So where did all of this actually start? That's the question everyone keeps asking. And this is where the story gets a lot more serious because, according to many fans and commentators, the tension isn't being viewed as some simple internet argument or a battle for attention. A lot of people trace the roots of these divisions back to one of the most impactful moments in Memphis rap history, the 2021 killing of Young Dolph. That event shook the city and sparked years of discussion throughout the rap community. Many observers believe it changed relationships across Memphis in a major way. Artists, crews, and longtime associates found themselves connected to different circles, and people began paying closer attention to where loyalties stood. Whether directly or indirectly, many of the disputes that followed have been linked by fans and media personalities to the fallout from that period. Even years later in 2026, people still point back to that moment when discussing tensions inside the Memphis rap scene. That's why when new conflicts make headlines, many fans immediately start looking for connections to older issues and rivalries. To them, it's like one major event created ripple effects that continued spreading through the city's music culture. Over time, those ripple effects turned into new disagreements, new alliances, and new public clashes that keep resurfacing today. One of the moments that reportedly added fuel to the situation involved BEO Lil Kenny releasing a freestyle that included criticism directed toward Moneybagg Yo, OG Boo Dirty, and Big Homie AG. Those names grabbed attention immediately because all three have ties to circles that people often associate with Big 30. Because of those connections, many listeners interpreted the track as reaching beyond just a few individuals and touching a much larger network of relationships within Memphis rap. That freestyle became a major talking point online. In scenes where affiliations and partnerships matter, fans often view comments aimed at one person as comments aimed at an entire group. Whether that interpretation is fair or not, it helped increase attention around the situation and sparked even more debate across social media platforms and hip-hop discussion channels. Then the conversation became even more intense when various media outlets and online sources reported that BEO Lil Kenny's vehicle was allegedly involved in a shooting incident while traveling between Nashville and Memphis. It's important to note that reports and online claims are not the same as verified court findings, and many details discussed publicly remain disputed or unconfirmed. Still, the timing of the reports quickly became a major topic among fans who were already following the situation closely. As often happens in high-profile rap controversies, people began connecting different events and creating their own theories about what may or may not have happened. Social media exploded with speculation, reactions, and debates. Some people believed there was a connection, while others argued there wasn't enough verified information available to draw conclusions. Regardless, the reports kept the spotlight firmly on everyone involved. Around that same period, reports also surfaced regarding Stupid Duke, an artist often associated with circles connected to Big 30. News surrounding that incident generated another wave of discussion and added even more attention to an already complicated situation. With multiple incidents being talked about at the same time, public interest continued growing, and the story became one of the most discussed topics among Memphis rap followers. At that point, many fans felt the situation had moved far beyond ordinary rap competition. Instead of simply debating music releases or lyrical exchanges, people were now discussing serious real-world events, legal developments, and long-standing tensions. That's a big reason why conversations around this story have remained so intense. For many observers, it stopped being just entertainment a long time ago and became a much larger discussion about the state of relationships within Memphis rap culture. But as big as all of that sounds, many people believe the next part of the story is what truly pushed the conversation to another level entirely. According to reports that circulated widely across entertainment blogs and gossip channels, BEO Lil Kenny's name was mentioned in connection with the investigation surrounding the killing of Big Jook. For those unfamiliar, Big Jook was Yo Gotti's brother and is widely recognized as an important figure connected to CMG. Because CMG has long-standing ties to several major Memphis artists, including figures often associated with Big 30's circle, the reports immediately attracted massive attention. That's why this development became such a huge topic online. Big Jook was not just another name in the industry. He was viewed as someone with significant influence and deep connections throughout Memphis music. Any report linking a public figure to a case involving someone of that stature was bound to generate headlines and intense public discussion. Multiple media outlets and gossip-focused platforms reported updates related to the investigation throughout early and mid-2026. As those reports spread, social media users, bloggers, and fans began analyzing every detail they could find. The story quickly dominated conversations across hip-hop communities, and many people waited to see whether those reports would lead to additional developments. Then, according to reports circulating online, Kenny reportedly responded publicly after the news began spreading, creating yet another major moment in a story that was already packed with controversy and attention. Now look, it's important to approach this carefully. None of these allegations have been fully resolved through the court system, and allegations remain allegations unless they're proven. That's an important distinction, and it's something that should always be kept in mind when discussing situations like this. A lot of information gets passed around online, but facts and claims are not always the same thing. That being said, many people have focused on what the reports could mean if the information being discussed turns out to be accurate. From a public perception standpoint, some fans believe this situation goes far beyond a disagreement between two artists. Instead, they see it as something connected to larger networks of relationships and affiliations within Memphis rap. That's why the conversation has continued growing instead of fading away. When people discuss Big 30's connections, they often point to his relationships with major figures in Memphis music, including artists and organizations that have played significant roles in the city's rap scene. Because of those connections, any controversy involving individuals associated with those circles naturally attracts a lot of attention. Fans don't just view it as one person versus another person. They view it as different camps, histories, and alliances colliding in public. Many observers argue that this is the real reason the story carries so much weight. The diss tracks, the social media reactions, and the public comments may grab headlines, but people following the situation closely often believe there are deeper issues underneath the surface. Whether that's true or not, it's certainly how many fans interpret the ongoing tension. That's why Big 30 responding to comments about Memphis became such a major talking point. To some people, it wasn't simply a rapper reacting to another rapper. It represented something much larger because of the history, affiliations, and ongoing conversations surrounding both names. When those factors are added together, even a short public reaction can spark days of discussion across blogs, podcasts, and social media pages. Now let's talk about BEO Lil Kenny's music and public image for a moment. One thing that stands out is that much of the attention around Kenny has historically centered on his story and background as much as the music itself. His journey, the obstacles he's faced, and the circumstances surrounding his rise have all become major parts of how fans view him. In many ways, his personal narrative has become inseparable from his musical identity. That's not unusual in street rap culture. Many artists build strong audiences because listeners connect with their life experiences and authenticity. Fans often want to hear stories that feel real, relatable, and connected to actual events. As a result, an artist's reputation and personal journey can sometimes become just as important as the songs themselves. For Kenny, a lot of public discussion has revolved around those experiences and the story attached to his name. People frequently mention his background, his challenges, and the unusual path he took while building recognition. Those topics tend to generate as much conversation as the music, which is one reason his name continues drawing attention whenever it appears in headlines. At the same time, different listeners value different things. Some fans focus heavily on lyrical ability, technical skill, flow patterns, and songwriting. Others place more importance on authenticity, energy, and personal experiences. Because music is subjective, opinions often vary depending on what each listener is looking for in an artist. When it comes to Big 30, supporters often point to the extensive list of collaborations and industry relationships he has built throughout his career. Working alongside artists such as Moneybagg Yo, Pooh Shiesty, Yo Gotti, and others helped establish him as a recognizable figure in modern Memphis rap. Those collaborations also exposed his music to wider audiences and strengthened his position within the industry. A resume filled with major features doesn't happen by accident. Artists usually earn repeat collaborations by bringing value to projects, maintaining relationships, and consistently delivering performances that connect with audiences. That's one reason many fans view Big 30 as someone who has built a substantial catalog over time, rather than relying solely on public attention surrounding his personal life. Supporters often argue that his music career reflects years of work, networking, and artistic development. They point to chart appearances, notable collaborations, and a steady stream of releases as evidence that he's established himself as more than just a headline. Whether someone prefers his music or not, it's difficult to ignore the impact he's had within the Memphis rap scene. Of course, that doesn't mean Kenny lacks an audience or support base. Every artist has a different lane, a different style, and a different group of listeners who connect with what they bring to the table. Some people gravitate toward technical rap skills, while others are drawn to personality, storytelling, and real-life experiences. Neither approach automatically cancels out the other. What's clear is that both artists have built recognition in very different ways. Big 30's supporters often highlight his catalog, major features, and industry presence, while Kenny's supporters frequently point to his story, resilience, and the attention he generated through an unconventional journey. Those differences have become part of what makes this entire situation so fascinating to people watching from the outside. And that's exactly why this reaction has generated so much interest. You have two Memphis artists with different paths, different reputations, and different support systems becoming linked to one of the most talked about stories in the city's rap scene. When all those elements collide at the same time, people are naturally going to pay attention and want to see what happens next. That's what makes this situation such a wild dynamic. When people watch Big 30's reaction, many say it feels genuine because of everything happening around him at the same time. From the outside looking in, this doesn't come across as someone reacting to a simple lyrical challenge or a routine rap disagreement. Instead, viewers see a person dealing with multiple pressures all at once, and that's what gives the moment so much weight. Now let's focus on the timing, because that's a huge part of why this clip has people talking. Big 30 had only recently been released on bond, and whenever someone is released under those circumstances, there are often conditions that must be followed. According to reports circulating online, restrictions were placed on his travel and movement, while legal matters continue. If those reports are accurate, that alone creates major limitations on where he can go and what he can do. That means this isn't simply a situation where someone can pack a bag and head wherever they want without consequences. Legal obligations come first, and anyone dealing with bond conditions has to be extremely careful about following the rules attached to their release. That's already a serious factor before any public controversy is even added to the conversation. But here's where many fans think the story becomes even more dramatic. Even beyond the legal side of things, people continue discussing the tensions surrounding Memphis and the ongoing disputes connected to various figures in the city's rap scene. Whether those concerns are exaggerated or not, they're clearly part of the public conversation. As a result, fans often point to both legal restrictions and personal conflicts when discussing why certain moves may not happen right now. Think about how unusual that looks from the outside. You have one set of challenges tied to legal obligations and another set tied to public disputes and ongoing tensions. They are completely different issues, yet many observers believe they both point toward the same outcome: staying away from certain situations until things become clearer. That's a rare combination, and it's one reason the reaction clip gained so much attention online. Picture the moment for a second. Someone has just regained their freedom after spending time behind bars. They're adjusting to a completely different reality, and then they see public comments suggesting they're unwelcome in their own hometown. Whether people agree with those comments or not, it's easy to understand why that would spark a strong reaction. The circumstances surrounding the situation make every statement feel more significant than it otherwise might. That's why so many viewers found the clip compelling. It wasn't just about what was said, it was about the context surrounding it. Fans watched the reaction while already knowing about the legal situation, the public tension, and the ongoing discussions involving various Memphis rap figures. All of those elements combined to create a moment that felt bigger than a typical back and forth between artists. Many people also believe the clip highlights the intersection between legal issues, public perception, and music culture. Normally, rap beef stories focus on songs, interviews, or social media exchanges. In this case, however, there are multiple storylines happening at once, which is why the discussion has continued growing. The stakes appear much larger than a simple disagreement over music, and that's exactly what has everyone talking. Instead of debating who had the better verse or who delivered the sharper diss, people are discussing legal developments, personal histories, industry relationships, and long-running tensions. That shifts the conversation into a completely different category and makes every new update feel important to those following the story closely. Now let's look ahead for a moment. One question people keep asking is what all of this means moving forward. If the reports and allegations that have circulated online continue to play a role in the story, then many fans believe this situation isn't something that will disappear overnight. High-profile controversies involving major names often stay in public discussion for years, especially when they involve serious allegations and widely known industry figures. Of course, it's important to remember that ongoing investigations, legal matters, and allegations should be viewed carefully until facts are fully established. Public speculation can move much faster than verified information, which is why separating confirmed details from rumors remains extremely important. Still, that hasn't stopped people from analyzing every new development and trying to predict what might happen next. That's why many viewers interpreted Big 30's reaction as serious rather than dismissive. Whether someone agrees with him or not, supporters argue that he understands the significance of everything happening around him. From legal obligations to public disputes, there are multiple factors influencing the situation, and those factors naturally shape how someone responds when their name enters another major headline. Some people also ask, is this about fear? But for many observers, that's not really the main issue being discussed. The bigger conversation revolves around affiliations, relationships, and the larger circles connected to both sides. Fans often view situations like this through the lens of networks rather than individuals. They aren't just looking at one artist versus another artist. They're looking at entire groups, histories, and associations that have become linked through public discussion. And that's what keeps this story so fascinating to so many people. The debate isn't limited to music anymore. It's become a conversation about influence, loyalty, reputation, and the complicated web of connections that exists within Memphis rap. When all of those elements collide at once, every reaction, every statement, and every headline suddenly carries a lot more attention than it normally would. So the real question isn't whether Big 30 is worried about one specific person. The bigger question is whether it makes sense for anyone to step into a situation surrounded by major controversy, ongoing public tensions, and intense scrutiny, while also dealing with legal obligations. When you look at it from that angle, most people would probably agree that being cautious is simply the smartest move. No matter who you are, avoiding unnecessary problems while handling important legal matters is common sense. And this is where the story becomes bigger than just two artists. When people discuss Big 30 and BEO Lil Kenny, they're often talking about something much larger than a personal disagreement. Many fans see this as part of a broader conversation about Memphis rap in 2026 and the lasting impact of events that changed the city's music culture years ago. The discussions, divisions, and rivalries that developed over time didn't simply disappear, and people still debate how those events continue influencing artists today. If you really zoom out and look at the bigger picture, You'll notice how often conversations in Memphis rap involve long histories, personal relationships, industry connections, and neighborhood ties. For many artists, those factors become part of their public identity. Fans don't just pay attention to the music, they also pay attention to affiliations, friendships, collaborations, and the circles people move within. That's one reason Memphis stories often carry an extra layer of attention compared to ordinary industry drama. A lot of supporters and observers believe that's what makes the scene unique. In many cases, discussions about music become intertwined with real-life events, personal histories, and community relationships. Whether that's fair or not, it's something fans regularly point to when explaining why certain stories generate so much interest. The music and the conversations surrounding it often become connected in ways that are difficult to separate. That's why so many people found Big 30's reaction interesting. They weren't just watching an artist respond to comments. They were watching someone who had recently regained his freedom react to a situation involving his hometown, his reputation, and a story that already carried a great deal of public attention. When all of those elements come together, even a short reaction can become a major talking point online. Think about it for a second. Many viewers interpreted the moment as a reminder that success, popularity, and industry recognition don't automatically remove every challenge. An artist can have major collaborations, a strong fan base, and widespread recognition, yet still find themselves navigating complicated personal and professional situations. That's one reason the clip resonated with so many people following the story. So when fans watch the reaction, they often see more than a simple response. They see someone dealing with multiple realities at once: legal obligations, public scrutiny, industry relationships, and ongoing discussions surrounding one of the most talked about stories in Memphis rap. Whether people agree with the commentary or not, it's easy to understand why the clip generated so much conversation. Now let's look at the full picture one more time. You have Big 30, an artist with major collaborations involving names like Yo Gotti, Moneybagg Yo, and Pooh Shiesty, who built a strong presence within modern Memphis rap. His connections and catalog helped establish him as a recognizable figure in the industry, giving him influence far beyond his hometown. Then you have BEO Lil Kenny, an artist whose story, background, and rise to recognition have attracted significant attention over the years. Signed to Quality Control and known for an unconventional journey into the spotlight, he built a reputation that keeps people talking whenever his name appears in headlines. His public image has become a major part of the conversation surrounding his music and career. You also have a conflict that many fans believe traces back to larger divisions that emerged throughout Memphis rap following major events in 2021. Add in public freestyles, online reactions, reported incidents discussed by media outlets, and ongoing speculation surrounding various investigations. And it's easy to see why this story continues drawing attention from every corner of the hip-hop community. Then comes the most heavily discussed part of the entire situation: the reports, allegations, and public conversations connecting Kenny's name to the investigation involving Big Jook, Yo Gotti's brother, and a key figure associated with CMG. Those reports created another massive wave of discussion and pushed an already controversial story into an even bigger spotlight. And right in the middle of all of that, Big 30 returns home while dealing with reported bond conditions and continued public discussion surrounding Memphis. That's why so many people feel this story combines multiple major narratives into one. Legal developments, industry relationships, hometown connections, public reactions, and years of history are all intersecting at the same time. That's the full picture as it stands today, from the earliest roots of the story all the way to the latest developments making headlines. If you learned something new from this breakdown, make sure to hit the like button and show some support for the channel. It helps more than most people realize and keeps these deep dive discussions coming. Drop a comment and share your thoughts. Do you think this situation eventually cools down, or has it reached a point where the divisions run too deep? There's a lot to unpack, and people seem to have strong opinions on every side of the conversation. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for more updates, reactions, and breakdowns covering the biggest stories making waves across Memphis rap and beyond. More content is on the way, so stay locked in and don't miss